I am the board chair with Parkland School Division Board of Trustees, and so that is my role in that position, in that job. And I have various roles in the volunteer organizations that I am involved with. So I'm a member of some, I'm secretary of another, treasurer of another, so those types of roles, yeah.
What are some of the organizations that you're involved with?
Victim Services Society of Stony Plain, Spruce Grove and area. I'm a Rotarian, so I'm part of the Rotary in Stony Plain.
And you do a lot of volunteering and you're very involved.
Yes,
How
I am.
do you think you have impacted the community?
I think by being accessible, and I am any organization that I'm a member of, I take that role as a volunteer very seriously and put a lot of time and attention and effort into it. So that means being prepared for board meetings, that means being prepared. One of the other roles that I do is sit on appeals and hearings for the College of Alberta Psychologists. So any position that I'm involved with, the work that I do, I think being prepared for that work and then being able to, where it's appropriate, to speak about that work outside of that organization to the community. So I think that impacts or affects the folks in that organization and then others in the community to know about that organization. As I think about education, think about our grandchildren. So we have 6 grandchildren, and they really, because I am not involved in the classroom anymore, they keep me grounded in what happens in education. So they're either in education K-12 system, or they are also moving into and are involved in the post-secondary. When I think about the experiences that they have had, I think about the conversations that we have with them, and I'm just always impressed with the level of knowledge, the level of empathy, the understanding, the awareness for social justice, for injustices. And so I think that as much as possible for education to continue to encourage and provide opportunity for any of the students in the education system. K-12 is the one that I know best. So for those students, then just to get as much of an awareness and an understanding, opportunity to have debates and discussion, to have voices be heard. So I would see that as very important for the next generation. Opportunity, experiences, voices, those are, I guess, would be kind of key. One of the things that I try to remind myself of is to act and not react. Because reaction often will just take me in a place where I don't want to be, and it's not going to do anyone any good. Usually reaction involves a lot of emotional kind of stuff that goes with it, and if you lead with that mindset, or if you lead in that way, then I don't think that I'm as effective as when I act, which means that I have to think a little bit more calmly and be a little bit more rational. So it helps to keep that impulsivity in check.
Why is inclusivity in education and just life in general important to you as an educator and a committee member?
It's critically important. It's been kind of my focus and my role in education for most of my education. My graduate work was on inclusive education and gave me the opportunity to do some work in inclusive education in South Africa, where the experiences there that I had just helped me to see that broader picture. And so when we think in the classroom about how kids learn and what they learn, it's really just necessary and important for us all to see and be able to provide for all kids outside of that window, because we all have the window that we're most comfortable in, but we need to look beyond that window and look at both ends and look at top and bottom, and try and understand everyone's perspective. So it's one of the kind of mantras or words that I used for myself when I was in the classroom years ago, is that a behavior you can explain, the behavior will help to explain the action, but it doesn't always excuse the action. And so when I think about ways that we've worked in education, either when I was in the classroom, when I did work with the government, in my role now as a school board trustee, in thinking, how can I see beyond what I typically see in my typical window, and how can I make that window be broader, because there are people on all ends of the spectrum and outside of my normal typical window that I might look at. So I think that to provide opportunity for everyone is critically important, and so that's what inclusion is about. It's about all people. It's about all kids. It's about how do we provide and not assume that we know what they need, because everyone is different and everyone needs something different. And so being open and aware and understanding, having some empathy and a little bit of kindness, lots of patience. I think it's just, why is it important? It's because people are important. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are. Everybody needs to have a chance to have their voice heard, to make sure that that you do hear all the perspectives. And I guess that's a theme that kind of keeps coming back to me always as I move along, and the act react part for me as well fits into that in helping me be non-judgmental, or as non-judgmental as I can be, and not just instinctively going to this place where I need to think about things. So yeah, no one needs to be just tolerated, and people need to be, feel that they're comfortable to be invited to the table, and to, then it doesn't matter who they are, what they bring, everybody brings, right? But if you're not invited to that table in a genuine and open manner, then those conversations aren't going to happen, and then those perspectives and those voices aren't heard.
Do you have any advice for anyone looking to become an educator?
It is my thinking is the best profession ever, because you have the opportunity to see. You don't always know the differences that you might have, or the impact that you might have, and negative and positive. So by what you say, by what you don't say, by what you do, by what you don't do, you just never really know. So I think it's an important profession to go into, to think about how to support kids and families, so that they get what they need to be able to continue on in life, whatever life may hold for them. It's a hard job. It's not an easy September to June, get 2 months off in the summertime. That's not the right reason to go into education, for sure. It's a hard job. It's one that takes so much innovation and motivation, and always finding a way to, if this strategy doesn't work, then what else might. And it's working with fellow educators, so there's lots of teamwork that needs to happen. It's not a position or a profession or a role that you go in thinking that this is my classroom and I can close the door, and I think the whole community, the whole school community is a big classroom. It's lots of classes together as a community. You look at some of the schools that I know we don't have here in Parkland School Division, but in the city there's 3,000. That's a small town. That's a community. So how do you work with other educators within that community, and teachers need to always be open to other ways of doing things. One of the things I think when we go into education is if we go in with a mindset that we have lots to learn from the kids that we teach. And so it's not about just what I can offer to you as my students, it's about what I take from them and what they offer me. And I found that when I did my work in South Africa, it wasn't, I had experiences here and I have resources here, and I've had the privilege to be able to go to school and to do the work that I've done, and so I share that. You get that, you have that, so you can share it, and so there's lots of sharing, I guess, and educators need to just go in with that mindset. But it's mostly about, it's about the kids when you just take that look at it, and it's seeing that light bulb or seeing that shine when somebody gets it. Doesn't matter what that get is, right? So I think about the freshness of everyone when you come back at the end of summer, and you can smell, I can still smell the hallways, how clean they were, the floors are all shiny and the bulletin boards all ready to be fixed up, or the desks are clean, and yeah, just the energy, the synergy and the energy. It's a hard job, but it's a good job.
What does it mean to you to be selected as a woman of influence?
Oh, it's a great privilege. It's I think often we don't, and I don't know men as well, but women will often kind of have that imposter syndrome where, there's, and whether, I don't think it's confidence, it's just that how did I get here? Or how did I get to a position where someone else might be able to see something in me that I don't see myself? Or when will you really find out that I really don't know what I'm talking about? I'm just an imposter in this role. And so I think that women sometimes have to work hard at getting over that, and being chosen then as a woman of influence means that that someone else would see what it is that I bring to a community. And I'm honored that the community, the chamber, has seen that I have something to offer, or I have had something to offer to the community. I do it because I love to do what I do.
Do you have any goals that you are working towards in your career or just personal life with the community currently?
But I think for myself, being a trustee, with that part of my role, goal would be just to continue to try to see where there are opportunities for students that we can expand kind of outside of the classroom sometimes, because not all students learn best just within those four walls of the classroom. You need to understand how to work with people, you need to have social skills. We're focusing and looking at land-based learning, because the more we talk with our Indigenous partners, and we learn that there's lots of learning that can happen from the land. And so how do we explore that as a school division? So that would be the goal, is just to continue to see how the trustees can enhance and support administration as they build more choice, or build more opportunities for choice in our school division. Yeah.
Which was or is the most challenging position that you've held?
There's challenges, celebrations everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pick one. I find being a trustee is a challenging. I don't know if it's the most, maybe that'll come to me as I talk. I don't know if that's the most challenging, but it's a challenging position because as a trustee, we are the governors of the school division, so we are not the administration who, you know, operate. They do the operational piece of the whole school division. So there's challenge in being an elected official. So a governor is an elected, we're elected officials. So there's a challenge in being an elected official in listening, because we were elected by our public, and so our public has expectations. And so thinking about and trying to balance out the expectation from our public. There are students and parents in that ward, but when I'm elected to the broader corporate board of trustees, then I am my responsibility, my obligation extends beyond Ward 2. It extends to the full 5 wards within our school division, extends to the full almost 12,000 students. And how can we provide the best for those students?